Stampin' Up! Demonstrator Teresa Harper. I'm located in Oregon in the US, and I'm so happy that you're here. So let's see if we can find this video so I can see your comments, and then of course we have to get it so that the chat will open. Let's see, let's get this up. Hopefully this will be easy and the chat will open. And let's see. There we go. Hello, Cynthia. Hello. Thanks so much for joining me. We finished the swimming fairly early tonight, which was really nice. Caleb wasn't the last swimming event, so we were able to dip out just a little bit early, which is awesome. It's been a very busy day. So we are going to be using the Meant to Be bundle tonight. If you watch the Tuesday night Facebook Live, we used this. We're going to be using it again. Tonight, though, I have a 3D project for you, and it is based on a gabled box that was made by Marissa Alvarez of the Kitchen Table Stamper. And then I took her gabled box and modified the size and made my own. So that's what we're going to be making tonight. I hope everyone enjoys the video. Let's see, I'm trying. Oh, good. Hello, Tracy. Give everybody just a minute to get on before we get started. Okay. So in addition to the Meant to Be, we are also using, again, the Hugs for Love Stamp and Punch bundle. And we're only using just a couple images from here tonight. Primarily, we're using this bundle here. And then I'm also using, yes. I'm also using the Hive die from the Spring is in the Air paper pumpkins, because this little die here coordinates so well with this set here. So I'm loving being able to put those together and use them outside of what they were intended. Now, if you're wondering, on the Meant to Be dies, it has just the two sizes here of the bees. This particular bee here is for comparison in size for these three. And this is from the Be My Valentine set that's in the annual catalog. Okay, so it's just there so you can see the difference in sizes. And also, this is a punch bundle, so the wings punch out a little bit differently. So let's go ahead and move those out of the way. And these are the actual dies. And you'll notice these wonderful hexagons. And they cut like this. We're going to actually use this size. No, we're not. We're not using this size tonight. I don't know what I'm thinking. I use this for tomorrow in my exclusive Canteen Design Stamper Group social sketch challenge where I used these. So you'll want to check that out tomorrow morning. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started with our project. And I am going to let's start by stamping. Let's get our pieces stamped and get that done. Okay. So I've got just a scrap piece of basic white here. We're going to start out with some bubble bath. And the image, one of the images from Hugs for Love, the label. I'm just going to put this down here. And I'm going to stamp it in this direction so that I can get my punch in here to get that out. So let's go ahead and do that while we've got it handy here. I love this punch and these coordinated stamps that give you the decorative edges. There's also in the mini catalog, the January through April, the bright borders also coordinates with this. This is called the To the Point label. So it coordinates with the not only the Hugs for Love, but also this bright border. So you get double value from that label, especially when you get both stamp sets. And you can purchase the Hugs for Love in a bundle, and then the bright border stamp set is an extra. So let's get we're going to go next to Daffodil Delight and stamp the body of our bee. Okay, we'll just give that a stamp there. And then we'll stamp our wings in Pool Party. And then the rest, I think, goes in basic black. So let's go ahead and close those up. Grab our Memento Tuxedo Black. We're going to first stamp the antennas. And I'm just going to stamp that over here. And then let's get the bee body. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and grab my extra piece of basic white here so that I can do that label. And I think I cut it. Hang on, let me see. Oh, you know what? I think I might have cut it and stamped it. Hang on, let me grab I want to cut this before I stamp because it'll just make it easier for me. So I need a 1/2 inch by 1 5/8 inch strip. And yes, it's going to make it tight. But we're going to do this. Okay, so that'll give us our sentiment strip. And I'm going to grab my silicone mat and bring this in so that I can see the borders of the white easily. And then we're going to take the You Make Me Smile from the Hugs for Love bundle. And I'm going to stamp that down. All right. Let me flip that over and see if I can get it down just a bit. It'll work. If I could just move it down just a smidge though. There we go. I'm happier with that. Okay, now let's go ahead and set this aside. And then we're going to bring back in our bee body. I was given that time to dry, if you're wondering. And then I'm going to take my little stinger part. And I'm going to line that up. This is a 2-step stamp. And that's not perfect. But that's okay because I've already cut one and it's fine. I've already done one ahead of time. So we're good. All right, so then we just need to get our dies. And then, so what we'll do is we've got a die for the body here, a die for the wings, and a die for the antennas. And we would run that through our die cut machine and do the magic of television. I've already done that. So that will save us some little bit of time. But I did want to show you that those dies do cut those. So here is our little bee and her wings. All right, and then we have this. Okay, so let's go ahead and put our bee together just so that we have that done. We'll set these aside and then we'll make our box. So let's bring in just a little bit of liquid glue. This is the way I like to do this. Take my silicone mat. Let me check the... Oh, good. I'm so glad that you're making a note to check that challenge for tomorrow. I used one of the new sketch challenges, or the new sketches in the mini catalog, in the new mini. So you'll definitely want to check that out. And then I'm going to put a little bit of glue at the tips of these wings, the base. And this I really use just to hold these in place for the moment. And then I'll secure them with Stampin' Dimensionals before I put them on. Okay, so now our bee is put together. Pretty cute little bee, don't you think? Now let's set that stuff aside. Those are all of our pieces. And then you'll also need to die cut. And we're going to have to do that because I've used mine with ink and made kind of a little mess of it. So let's grab our little paper pumpkin die here and a piece of petunia pop. And we're just going to put this on here and run that through our mini machine. And then I think we'll have all of our pieces so that when we get the box made, we can just get it going. Okay, what did I just do with that? There it is. Okay, so let's bring that in. Run that through our machine. We've got the base plate 1, number 2 acrylic plate, paper, die, and number 2 acrylic plate, and we'll run that through. Okay. And then we'll move this to its die sheet so it doesn't get lost and pick these pieces up. Okay, so this cuts the frame, which is what we're going to be using tonight. And then it also cuts all of these little hexagons, which if you watched my live on Tuesday, you saw how I used these. I think you can do lots of cool patterns with these tiny little hexagons. Okay, now let's go ahead and make our box. So we have a piece of petunia pop. And this piece is cut at 5.5 by 7 inches. We're going to bring in our scoring tool, our Simply Scored tool. This is my preferred method of scoring because once I get the paper in here, I don't have to keep moving it and try to judge. So I get an accurate measurement. So I'm going to score on the 7-inch side at 1/2 inch, 2.5, 3 3/4, and 5 3/4. And then I'm going to rotate this and I'm going to score on the 5.5 inch side at 1 1/4, 3 3/4, and 4 5/8. Okay, so there we are. That's all the scoring. Well, it's not all the scoring that we need to do. I'm going to bring back in that silicone sheet. Where did I put it? Huh. Oh, right here. Okay. So, let's see. Let's go ahead and burnish all of our score lines. I'm going to do just a little bit of trimming, and then we're going to put in our gables, which is basically some diagonal scores. Okay, so we've got that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to, with this skinny section here, I'm going to cut off this upper rectangle. Like that. Okay. Then this is the top of our box here where we have the double scores. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to, on this second score line, I'm going to cut all the way to the second score line. So it's the second score line from the left, and I'm going up 2 score lines and stopping. Okay. And then I'm going to cut off this rectangle, the large, and this third one. Okay. So we're going to cut on the first score line, and we're removing the entire score line, and we're going to go down to where we just cut that section out, or cut down on it. Okay, so what you're doing is you're removing this piece right here, which leaves you this. Okay, and I don't think, hang on, I think I just messed up. I was not supposed to cut here. Oops. Nope. Okay, sorry. Oops. You didn't see that. Let me grab another piece of petunia pop, because I just messed that up, you guys. I was not supposed to cut that down. Oh my goodness. Hello, Laura. It's real life crafting here again. Okay, so 5.5 by 7, and I'm going to pull out this. You can just cut off 1.5 inches, but I want to make sure that this is exactly 7 inches. So I'm going to pull out my arm. All right, let's do this again. Sorry about that. Okay, so again, we're on the 7-inch side, and we're going to score this at 1/2, 2.5, 3 3/4, and 5 3/4. Rotate to the 5.5 inch side, and we're going to score this at 1 1/4, 3 3/4, and 4 5/8. Okay. So, really, I trimmed too much. I'm used to making boxes where you're always cutting there at the top. And this is one of those boxes that you do not do that on, because you need that whole section to remain whole, not tabs. Okay, so we are going to cut this. So on this skinny section, this was correct. We're going to cut on this last score line up here and the first score line on the left here and remove that. Okay, now we're going to leave this alone. And we're going to, actually we're going to cut here on this rectangle, but only down to the first score line. Not the second one, only the first one. And then we're going to cut this off. We need to remove this. That part was right. I just cut too far down. Okay, so there we are. This is what it should look like at this point. Now we're also going to remove this section, but we're going to angle cut on this skinny rectangle piece because this is going to be a glue tab. And we're going to remove that. Okay, now we're going to cut up to the score line, this first score line on all of these other scores. We're going to cut straight on the large rectangle and then angle cut on the smaller section there. Okay, and again, cut up on the large rectangle and then angle cut and angle cut the edge here. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Now we need to put in our gables, and we're going to put those in on our small sections here. So this is 1.25 inches, the way I've designed it. So half of 1.25 inches is 5/8. So I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to make a mark at 5/8 in this section and in this section. Okay, so I'm just marking with the tip of my stylus. And then I'm going to put the tip of my stylus in this intersecting score at that first line and put my ruler at my dot and draw a line. And by using the silicone mat, that gives me a nice soft surface to get that score line in there again. So again, I'm going to put my ball tip right in the corner of those intersecting scores on that small rectangle there. And then draw a line with my ruler. I'm going to repeat that again on this small section, going the opposite way so that I'm making a triangle score here. Okay, so that's my gable then. Okay, so I folded these directions, so these I'm going to fold in the opposite direction. Okay, so these fold in and then these go in the opposite direction. All right, so we've got that. Now, because this section and this section are going to come together, I also need to put a score on this tiny little section right here. So here I'm going to take my ball tip and put it in the corner of this intersection of scores right here. And I'm going to score from here to the tip of that corner right there. Okay. And then that's going to give me my gable. And again, I'm going to fold that in the same direction that I did the other ones. Now, when I put my tear and tape on there, that's going to fold together well. Okay. All right. So we can put our scoring tool away. And now we're going to round the corners. This is going to fold over the front like this, okay? So we're going to round these corners. You don't have to. If you don't want your corners rounded, then don't do that. I'm just taking a corner rounder. And I'm going to round those two corners. Okay. And then I'm going to add my designer series paper because it's easier to add the paper when it's flat than when the box is together. Okay, so we've got a few pieces here of designer series paper, and this designer series paper is the Cute as Can Be January 2025. This is from the scrapbooking brochure. So let's just take a quick look at that paper. You get 12 sheets, two each of 6 double-sided designs. Okay. All right, so that's what that paper looks like. I know that was a quick flip through. So your designer series paper, I'm using this flowered paper piece, and the back side is the flower. So I'm using both sides of my paper on the box. So these are for the front and the back of the box here. And these pieces are cut at 1 7/8 by 2 3/8. And if you have a directional design, they need to be portrait up and down. Okay. Then we have 2 more pieces, and these are cut at 3/4 of an inch. No, sorry, these are for the box sides, and they're cut out 1 1/8 inch by 2 3/8. And again, you want those in the portrait, and they're going to go here like so. Okay. And then I have 3 pieces that are in the landscape orientation. And these are 3/4 of an inch tall by 1 7/8 inch wide. And we're going to put one here. This one's going to go here. And then this one's going to go here on the back. Okay. Oh, I did that wrong. Oops. This one goes here, and this one's going to actually be, this is the back of the box. This is the front of the box. Okay. It looks, yeah. Okay. So back of the box, front of the box. So because this is the front flap, which is going to fold over from the back of the box, we need to round 2 corners of this piece. So I'm going to slip this in here. And I have a hard time with this one. Let's see. That's not going to do it. There we go. I think this is what I want. Let's see if I did it right. If I didn't, I'll have to cut another piece. No, I did it right. Okay, sweet. Okay, so we've got that piece. Now I can just set that there like so. Let's go ahead and put these on. Tracy, I'm always keeping it real. It seems like I'm always messing up. This has been a little bit tricky for me, this box. Not that it's hard. It's just a little different than what I'm used to because we always cut the tabs. And with this one, you're not cutting tabs at the top. You're leaving that hole. So that's what threw me off. It's just not my normal. I love these little boxes though. I think they're pretty cool. But it takes a little bit different mindset to get out of that. Oh, those are tabs and I need to cut them. Because we don't need to cut them. Only the bottom. Okay, so we'll just put this on here. Oh, and I'm using liquid glue. That's going to give me a little bit of time to maneuver that into place. This is the one that I want to be flowered. The other thing that throws me off is that the front of the box is shorter than the back of the box, because that front flap is actually attached to the back of the box. Okay, so we've got that. Let's put this on. I'm kind of a slow crafter, you guys. I don't know how people do the things so fast, but when I make my stuff, I want it to look really super nice, and I want it to be nice and sturdy so I don't have to go back and rip things off and put them on when I want to give them to people. I don't throw my stuff away, so I don't want it falling apart. So bear with me while I put these on and line everything up the way I want it. Okay, here we go. We've got that. And the last piece, I'm actually going to flip this down here so I can line this up. Now, if you're using a directional piece, this pattern needs to be opposite direction of these pieces, because this is going to fold over this direction. So your pattern needs to be up and down on here, and then up and down on here. Okay. This isn't really directional, so I'm okay. All right. Now, before we put our tear and tape on here, we're going to do just a tiny bit more trimming. Okay. Because this is going to be a glue tab here, I'm going to give this just a little bit of an angle cut. Take off just a tiny little angle there so that when it folds in, you won't see that tab. Okay. And then, because these are long, I'm going to go ahead and fold these two up, and I'm going to trim these off just a bit to reduce a little bit of bulk so that when they fit inside the box, they don't overlap, because I don't want them overlapping. I might need to cut this one down just a bit more. Okay, there we go. So we'll just leave about half of that tab. All right, now again, remember, this is the back of the box. So let's take our tear and tape, and I'm going to put tear and tape on the two small tabs on the inside of the box and on the inside front flap of the bottom here. And then I'm also going to put my tear and tape on the outside next to the score line, not over, but right next to the score line on this glue tab. And what that's going to do is give us a nice tight corner when we put this box together. Okay, and give those a quick little burnish. If you burnish your tear and tape, it will stay together better than if you don't. Okay, so let's take your pick tool, remove that backing. Then we're going to flip this over on the second score line and on the first score line from the left. And when you do that, then those two should meet up perfectly. Score line to score line here. Everything should just meet up, and then we'll give that a good burnish so that tear and tape really grabs. Okay, And then here's where our gables came in. We made those so that these will fold in nicely like so that this can fold over the top. What did I do wrong? There it goes. All right, I got to get the box bottom together here. Okay, so I'm going to remove my tear and tape from all of these. And then I like to fold my back side in first, and then my sides, and then the front flap over the bottom. And what that does is give me a nice clean finish on the inside of my box. Give that a good little burnish. And now when I fold those gables down, that is all going to fold nicely. Okay, now to hold our box together, we're going to take some Velcro dot. That way the recipient can get into the box without tearing it up. Okay, so we're just going to take a little Velcro dot. This is a 3/8 inch clear, thin clear fastener. I get them at Joann's Fabrics, or you can get them online through Amazon. And when they come separately like this, and then I put them together. I'm gonna put that back together. Where's my flat side? I just did that. Okay, let's go. I just like to put them together like that. And then I take there's a white side and a clear side. I like to take the backing off the clear side, and I like to put it on the part that's going to be on the inside of the box. I'm going to put that right in the center and give that a good press. Okay. Burnish that down. That sticks. Then we'll pull off this backing off of the clear side, assuming it will cooperate here. I'll just stick my take your pick tool tip in there. Okay. And then I'm going to bring this up, get it all situated all nicely before I press it down, because I want everything to line up and I don't want that Velcro dot in the wrong spot. So I'm just going to make sure that everything lines up the way I want it. And then I'll give that a press. Okay. And then I'll gently pick that up and give that another press. Bring in my bone folder, burnish that down. Okay, now I've got some of the little heart milk chocolates that I got at Home Goods. And of course, for this particular color, I would pick out the gold that I have in this package and drop those in there. And it looks like I can get about 4 and then seal that together. Okay? So in case you're looking for these, I'm sure that you could put some Hershey hearts in there, but this is what I have. And I picked them up at Home Goods. Okay. Of course, if you make a box, we would like for you to show it to us in the K&T Design Stampers Group Stampers Social Group. Exactly, I'm not sure how it is exactly, the group social, and tell us what you put in yours so we can all find different uses. Okay, so that is a cute little box, just like that. Now we're going to take our bee And we've got our sentiment, we've got our piece that we stamped, and we have this little hexagon. So the first thing that we're going to do is glue this little hexagon down onto our label. So we'll bring in our silicone mat, which is invaluable. And we're going to put I'm glad you like this box, Tracy. I thought it was pretty cool, and I'll show you the original box with the dimensions that Marissa Alvarez made. It's a pretty thin, narrow box, and so when I designed this one after hers, I made it fit this label. So this label is 2 inches, and so I made this box 2 inches wide. Hers originally was very thin. I'll show you. So it's only 1 inch deep, and then this is like 1.5 inches wide. So I made mine 1.25 inches deep. And so like mine, you could get the you could get some a couple of Ferrero Rochers in here. You could get the hearts. I don't know if this will hold the mini Kit Kats because this one's a little bit taller, but I think so. I don't think the mini Kit Kats are any taller than that. You'll just have to find what you have on hand and see what fits. So I'm just going to stick this up here in the right hand corner, kind of at an angle. So I'm going to put my bee down here. So I'm just going to put that in there. All right. And then while I've got this flat, I'm going to take my Petunia Pop ink. Okay, Petunia Pop. And a little blending brush. And put a little bit of ink on there. Wipe it on my glass mat. And then I'm very lightly going to add a little bit of color to the center of the hexagons here, just so it's not so stark white in contrast. Okay, not looking for a lot of color, just a tiny little bit. And then we can add this to our box. And we're going to do that with some dimensionals. This is a 3-day project, so it can be as thick as we want it. And because these are going to fit the box in this direction, now it doesn't fit the box quite in with the points this way, but if you put it this way, then it fits perfectly. Okay, so I can go ahead and put my dimensionals on all 4 sides. If you want it to go the other direction, you'd have to be mindful of where you put your dimensionals because they're going to stick out a bit. And then actually, I find if I do this sideways like this, it works the best for lining it up. Okay, then we've got that. Now we can take our little bee here and flip it over. And we're going to put some dimensionals to hold I've put the dimensionals so that they come where these pieces coincide so that it will keep them nice and solid. And then I'm going to take a couple of dimensionals that I've cut in half. And I'm going to put those right up on the wings. And can you see that? Yep, you can. I didn't get that quite centered. Move that out just a touch. There we go. And we'll put these up here. Depends on if you get them directly in half, which I didn't. No perfection here. And then we'll add this little bee right down here. Oh, wait. Huh. We might want to take the rest of the backings off if we want it to stick. That would be a good thing to do. You guys, I have to tell you, I found one of these little dimensional backings today inside the little spot on my AirPod charging case where you're supposed to stick the charging cord in. Don't ask me how it got there, but it did. I had to try and pull it out before I could charge my things. Oh man. Okay. So then we're going to take the You Make Me Smile, and I have a little bit of ink left here on this. So I'm just going to take and add just a tiny bit of ink to my sentiment strip here, just so it's not as stark white. And it really isn't that much at all. And because I flipped this over, I've got some cutting edges. So I'm going to take my bone folder and smooth down those edges so you won't know that I flipped that over. Okay, and I really want just a little bit more ink here. I didn't quite have enough left in my brush. Apparently I cleaned it too well today when I put it away. Or yesterday, I mean. So we're just going to add just a little bit more. There we go. Any blending brush will work for this. Okay, let's go ahead and wipe that off now so I don't have ink where I don't want it. And then we're going to take and flip this over, add a couple of dimensionals, and add it to our box. Actually, I found if I laid this down like this, I did a better job with it. There we go. Okay. All right, we have 2 more little additions here, and then we'll be done. So we've got these tiny bee trinkets, and they were perfect for this project. I love these little, man, they're tiny. So I'm going to take my glue dot, and if you've seen me before, I like to do this where I take a glue dot and I just cut it in half. Okay, so I've got that right on the edge there. And then I'm going to take my Take Your Pick tool. I'm going to take a bee trinket, and I'm just going to set that right there on the glue dot, just like so. Give that a good press. Close up my trinkets before these are actually quite thin. They aren't any fatter than a Stampin' Dimensional, and they don't weigh hardly anything, but they are perfect for this 3D project. So I'm going to take that little tiny little bee, and I'm going to set him right here outside, just at the edge of that hive where those 2 little corners come together. Right there. And now we've got our tiny little bee trinket. And finally, what did I do with my dots? Oops, I don't see them. Oh, you guys, where did I put those? Oh, I took them out when I took the Velcro dots out. So we're going to use the 2024 to 2026 in color resin dots. And I'm just going to take one of these Petunia Pop Dots, and I'm going to stick it right here on the tittle on the eye and smile. Okay, so that is what I have for you today. Let me clean this little glue off of my glass mat here for a second. And then I will show you, here's the original box, the thin little box, and this will hold 2 chapsticks, 3 of those little chocolate hearts, or like 3 little mini Kit Kats. And then we have this box, which is wider, shorter, and thicker than this one. Okay, so you can see that. Here is my template. This is for the larger box right here. You could take a screenshot of that if you want, or this template will be on my blog on Sunday, so you could see it there. All right. And I'll have all the sizes and dimensions that you need for everything there as well. Okay. Sorry. The measurements, Jan, will be, they're actually here on this template, and they will also be on my blog, which is kntdesigns.blog, or kntdesignsbyteresa.blogspot.com, and that will be on Sunday, this Sunday. It will post about 6 a.m. and that's here in Oregon time. Okay, so you'll be able to see all those. All right, thanks for joining me. Tuesday, I normally go live at 7 on Facebook. However, I am taking my husband to the dentist in the late afternoon, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do about Tuesday. Be sure to check my Facebook page, and I'll let you know if if there's going to be a pre-recorded video or what I'm going to do. Okay? All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me. If you liked what you saw, be sure to give this a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so you know every time I post a video and or go live. Thanks so much. See you later.